to keep the conversation going from the previous weeks, we're going to be talking about mastering corporate catering. And I wanted to bring on someone who has not only mastered it, but really leveraged other ways to expand her business. And we really wanted to have her on. And so joining us today is the one and only Miss Karen Fain. And she is the co-owner of Fain Miss Barbecue, the restaurant that brought let me say this, authentic East Tennessee style barbecue to Texas and beyond.
You develop a relationship, now that price that was here,
Hmm.
you can inch it up
Right,
little by little. People understand that in the
right,
macro environment, if you know that prices are going up and they're going up all around you, then yes, you
right,
can expect your prices to increase some.
right,
Okay. But by this time, you've got the relationship.
right,
You you've delivered time and again. So they'll be willing to stay with you and pay that higher price, and you have stood out against your competitors because your foot was in the door because they liked your price. They
hmm,
liked what you could give them compared to your competition.
right,
So that's one piece of it. And that's what I mean by the cogs and making that sell.
right,
Now, the second part of it is, how am I paying for my rent, my
hmm,
lease, my
hmm,
all of these other things, right? So, in that exercise, you're saying to yourself, how many sales do I need
I
to
need.
make
Hmm.
in order to cover this section of cost? And if you are able to keep the hopper full, keep the catering coming in on those times, and I've looked back over the years when we've been able to meet our rent, meet all of our obligations, then that's because we were able to keep a consistent set
Right.
of catering jobs in that were priced right, that were serviced right. However, you do have times like what we're feeling right now,
Hmm.
where you've seen machine learning, automation that has taken so many people basically out of work.
Hmm.
So in the corporate space, what we are seeing is that we have jobs, but they're smaller. So
Mm.
instead of having a lot of large jobs, you have quite a few smaller ones.
Like 50, 25. Like,
50, 25. We were even given a benchmark where offices were wanting no more than like a $50 budget. It's
oh, per
crazy.
person?
No, $50 for the job.
Oh no.
So that
I was
gives
like,
you,
you have a
right,
pound right here. I'm
it
like, you have
gives
a
you,
pound right here for
yeah,
$29.
right.
A brisket.
So that means that you're only feeding a
Two
very,
people?
very
Three
few
people?
people. So
Oh,
this is what you're kind of seeing in the
got it.
market when you see, more layoffs happen and all of that. Part of also being a corporate strategist when you're in a caterer is I
Mhm.
keep my head in the news. What is happening
Mm,
around me? If I'm seeing layoffs in oil and gas and those are
right,
my clients, then
right,
I can pretty much rest assured that, hey, this stream of income from my oil and gas partners it's going to go down. So
right,
if they were getting jobs 3 times a month and now it's one. So you have to be able to anticipate those sorts of changes.
hmm,
And it's part of the business cycle. You're going to be good, and then when it's down, how am I managing this piece?
right.
So in that space, you just continue to reach out and get more clients. So recently, we were blessed to do a job with a food fleet, which is more or less an aggregator that reaches out to many restaurants, and they do things like the Grammy parties and other
Mm.
things like that. And so we were able to do, one of their clients was Google, so
Okay.
we did that. Um, but
How
again,
big was that one?
oh, that one was 30. That was like their whole office. That was like 35 or so people.
Okay.
A little over $500 for that particular job.
Okay.
But it was a specific menu. It was a niche sort of menu offering,
Right.
entree and a side, packaged beautifully, allergen information on top
Got
and
it.
bottom. I mean, it's those sorts of things. Just tapping into a little bit. Another thing with catering is understanding your client.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you before you move on to there, because on your
Mhm.
what I did see on your menu,
Mhm.
is you have the specialties, but you
Yes.
do barbecue. What
Yeah.
what made you um or yeah, what made you include some of these other items, right?
Yeah.
Um like the pastas and the shepherd's pie and the pulled
Beautiful.
chicken and all these
Beautiful.
other ones. What made you add some of this stuff to your packages?
Because they are low margin, high volume foods.
Thank you for
Bottom
saying
line.
that. I was like,
Bottom line.
"Thank you for saying that."
Bottom line.
Yes,
But
yes,
when I
and
say when I say low margin, I don't mean low profit margin. I mean in terms of my cogs,
yes,
I can make any one of these dishes right here. I think you've got like our
this
sausage jambalaya is I think like 67. The smoked chicken alfredo is like 60 if I'm not
$60
mistaken.
a pan. Mhm.
Right, a pan. Okay, well that one pan will feed 20 to 25 people.
Right,
So let's just do the math. If I've
right,
got 75 people in an office, I have fed them with 3 pans of that.
right, right,
And then they spend $180.
right,
I'm getting that job all day long.
right.
I mean, who who else
Yes,
are we going to? You
yes,
see?
and yes, absolutely. And my point is, yes, you might have a very specific menu, like a very hyper specific type of food that you make, but don't be afraid of capturing a little different what's it called, demographic of food, of
Right,
cuisine, because
right.
you're just losing out on money, right?
That's
If
right.
we are in the business of making money, right?
That's
Now,
right.
but of course, with the caveat of making sure that you can execute it properly, that the taste is there, that the quality is there.
That's
But
right.
you can do a lot of this in catering, which you have a lot more freedom with, right? And especially on Easy Cater and on these other ones too. Um, it doesn't have to be your regular restaurant menu. It could be something totally different that
Absolutely.
you can execute at a really high level and make the money. One of the things that I kind of preach a lot to is looking at breakfast. Breakfast is one of the areas, and I tell everyone this, breakfast is one of the areas that for corporate clients is one of the most difficult to find. Why? Right? Why?
Mhm.
You fill that void. You start like making whether it's breakfast, breakfast brisket tacos, or if this is something that you can do, right?
And
And that
those
you
are
can
things we
execute well.
You are absolutely right, Karina. Absolutely right, 100%. The breakfast taco, it doesn't show here because with our clients we had that's kind of like a separate conversation
Yeah.
that we have, and they're like, hey, can you do breakfast? And we've certainly done it before. So definitely to all of those points that you've mentioned. Some client we've had clients that get us for breakfast and then turn around and say come back for
For
lunch.
lunch, yeah.
So we pivot from the
feed us
breakfast menu
feed us
to
our whole
lunch.
conference, right? It's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
It's a
And and
no-brainer.
and you can go on Amazon and get things like a craft coffee maker. I can't tell you how important just having a craft coffee maker is
Yeah.
because it's portable.
Yes.
You brew it right there. You can take it to the job site. Boom, you're done. and then they have 100 cup, 200 cup capacities.
Yep.
Get you a couple of those.
Yep.
Having good, just nice drink dispensers.
Yep.
Those are the sorts of things that kind of set you apart.
Part. Mhm.
If you're going to do catering, if you're going to do corporate catering, especially, and then, like you
Absolutely.
said, it just consider your menu as the opportunity for having multiple revenue streams. Look at
Absolutely.
each item as a revenue stream.